Okay, welcome to this session 0 for Against the Shadow, which is an upcoming Adventures in Middle-earth game that I'll be running on Mondays with these lovely players here. If you guys want to say hello.
Howdy.
Hello.
Very good.
Hi.
Oh no! I was hoping we could get like a Mexican wave of some hi, and I ruined it. I'm so sorry.
Hello.
Very good. These are my players. So the idea here is Denethor II, who is the nasty Denethor from the films, the old man who eats the chicken. He wasn't
That's
always,
what you remember him by is the chicken.
He eats those hideous tomatoes, and there's like juice. Oh, it's terrible.
Imagery, man.
Yeah. But he wasn't always a bastard. He was once a well-known and well-loved hero of Gondor and of men in general. He became very bitter after his wife died, and then etc. But at this stage, he is a well-known hero, a celebrated king, a very powerful ruler, or steward, not king. And it's approximately 20 years before the War of the Ring, so after The Hobbit, before the Lord of the Rings. And there's been bad things happening in Osgiliath, in Ithilien, and further to the east. And Denethor has become increasingly worried about this, and so he has asked you, wonderful people, wherever you might be from, to come and have a look and see what is going on. So that's the basic premise. Go have a look at Mordor and see what's going on. So I'm thinking in terms of scope for the game, probably 5 sessions. And then if we do 5 sessions, we want to keep playing, then we will continue. I don't have an end in sight, but at least 5. What else? Yes, I want to look at Lord of the Rings as with every game I run, a little bit darker. So combat will be brutal, as is my preference, which means we'll be using system shock rules, which is if you take half your hit points in one hit, then you roll d10 and something bad happens. We'll also be using lingering injuries, so if you take a critical hit, we roll on the Doom book, and you get some sort of lingering nasty injury, which could be lose an eye or a leg, or it might be some sort of infection, something like that. Now, I think there probably is some magical healing in this world, which will make a big difference, although you're not near Rivendell, so it might be a little bit more difficult. But yeah, not easy. Life is hard. Life is hard when you're fighting orcs. Let's see. So yeah, the hope would be that you travel across the Anduin into Mordor and discover what's going on there. Any questions so far?
I really like that, man. I think one of the best things about Lord of the Rings is that there is that sense of hopelessness quite a lot, you know, before the inevitable shining reversal of that. So I really like that, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's one of my hopes is it just drips with theme anyway, Lord of the Rings and Tolkien stuff in general. I want to try and bring some of that across, like a real, there'll be Deus Ex Machina where you're totally fucked, and then someone will appear and they're like, "Don't worry, I've got you," and everything's okay again. I'll warn you about that now, so it doesn't feel shoehorned in when it happens. Yeah, so the combat will hopefully be dramatic and not so frequent. I guess your main objective is to not get in fights, because there's 4 of you or 5 of you, and there'll be hundreds of orcs. So I think your objective will generally try and not get into any scraps. But if you do, it should be brutal. Exploration is probably the biggest part of this game. You'll be doing a lot of walking, a lot of exploring, looking at ancient ruins, looking at the grandeur of Middle-earth, and exploring that. So my hope is that there'll be lots of conversations of like, wow, look at that old thing. It's pretty old, except extrapolated a bit more than that. Mordor is mysterious to you, as it is to any man. It's at this stage, it's kind of mysterious as to what's going on there. There's clearly something is going on. At night you can hear forges if you're close enough to Osgiliath. You can hear hammers ringing and stuff like that. So something is going on, but what is going on is unclear, and that's what you guys are going to look at.
Oh wait, so Osgiliath isn't under the control of Gondor at this moment, then?
No, not quite. It's a battleground. So
yeah, the middle
it's
ground.
it's technically in Gondor control, but it's in bad shape. It's constantly being attacked by raids and stuff like that, and so it's a dangerous place. So I guess we should just make some characters. So I had said no hobbits because I just think hobbits have no place in a why would Denethor call a hobbit to go on this mission? It just doesn't make sense to me. He wouldn't, I don't think.
But does that mean
you guys want to convince me?
A Deus Ex Machina thing is going to be a hobbit comes and saves us
all? Amazing.
You never know.
If you are talking about characters, if you give me like editing rights or us editing rights to that shared drive, I can actually drop the form fillable template directly into the drive.
Oh, that sounds high tech. How do I do that?
So there should be sharing settings on that folder. You've currently got it to view, so we can see it. But you might be able to swap it to edit.
Right. Can edit. Aha. Look at you, tech wizard.
I love Google Drive, so.
So now you should be able to edit it.
Boom, baby.
Yes, editing, awesome. Have the template and finish. It should be there. There it is.
Waiting.
You might need to refresh or something.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So
Drive. Okay, there we go. Awesome.
Courtesy of Todor, wonderfully form fillable. It sort of has some scroll bars and has some shrinking stuff. So you can fit quite a lot of information in. I've already used it for some character sheets.
Cool. Thanks, Todor. And Robin as well, right? Thank you, guys.
And Robin, yeah. Robin started it off, I believe, and Todor carried on with it.
Robin's done a hell of a lot.
Yeah,
he's a workhorse.
Danke.
I have like all of the rules in that features, traits, and virtues thing. I play a elven healer. In his game, I have like all of the rules in it, so the text is just minuscule, but means I don't have to reference it anywhere else. So I've actually written up a full sheet for one character, but I had two other backups.
Oh wow! Look at you, so productive. Okay, what have you got in mind?
So the first, and they're all like flexible depending on setting. Because I've read all the books and the Silmarillion and watched the movies, but I don't know exactly how you see the world and in precise terms. So I made, because Rohirrim Rock, I made him my primary character.
Yeah.
Ceneric the Mourner. He's basically, because he wanted that ancestry to be a big thing, is that his father was famed for hunting down various dark spawn of different kinds, probably with like a rough riding band of like Rohirrim.
Yeah.
And he found effectual ways to combat the dark. So I'm playing the Wanderer class, and by the time they hit level 3, you can do Shadow Hunter. So basically you are purposely built to destroy the shadow. So he's picked up some things from his father, basically. But of course, him being a danger and a threat to the dark got him noticed and eventually killed. So I think he was from a noble house, but then that noble house has been slowly destroyed one after the other. So that's why he's called Ceneric the Mourner, and is of some fame, like wandering around on his lonely horse.
Gnarly. I think that's a big thing in Tolkien-esque literature, is that the heroes are nobles, they're nobility. It's almost always the case. It's problematic, I guess, but it's like often everyone's the son of a king or the son of or the prince or uncle of whatever, which I think makes sense.
So Ceneric means royal power, so I think he's probably linked. I drew from Saxon names. He's probably linked something to Theodred, and his horse is called Ciaro, which is sorrow. Yeah, and I've written everything up until about 3rd level. I didn't know if we were starting at 1 or starting at 3, but I have it all there.
I don't know that either. I wanted to write that down somewhere. I guess we'll start at 3. That's my preference anyway.
Okay, so the shadow hunting thing makes sense, but basically his background is hunted by the shadow, funnily enough. So he's basically incredibly paranoid and has dark secrets to how to kill the darkness and the darkspawn and stuff, but they want him for it. So he puts everyone in danger that he's around, coming from this cursed house, and that has some social effects, as you might imagine. But
yeah, excellent. I like it.
Yeah, so that was that guy, and then I had like basically a Bjorning berserker type dude, and one of the like a Dunedain who was from a long royal house, but they'd all been buried long ago and come back as whites, and he was going to be the undead specialist, which you can be as the Dunedain. So he spends most of his time in the wilderness with wraiths.
Yeah, I mean, I like all of us. They all sound pretty nifty. So it's really up to you and I guess to the group to decide who wants to do what. It would be nice to have a few different cultures in there, but it's not necessary. Like you could all be Rohirrim who have been called here for some reason, or you could all be Men of Gondor or whatever you want.
It's a bit eerie actually, because the character concept that I came up with is a Dunedain, but I imagine him like almost like a Vietnam vet who basically spent a load of time in Angmar, dealing with the fallen enemies of his wraiths that he was connected with through the Dunedain. So that's quite weird. But that's all I've got for him. Literally, that's all I know. But I like Angmar, and because it isn't really explored as much as other places in Middle Earth, I kind of wanted it to be him to be basically had a bad time over there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I played in a brutal campaign that Nick Dawson ran, where we were up in Angmar, and I can understand the post-traumatic stress. Certainly, did not go well. Oh, sorry. For stats, we will do 27.5, please.
Okay, 7.5. Okay.
I'll write that down.
I think that's one of the few bits of information you had on your character creation thing, so I've followed that.
I has no paper.
One thing with the Wanderer being the Ranger type class, they have instead of favored terrain, they have regions that they are familiar with, and due to my wisdom bonus and perhaps more with the starting level, I'm not sure. I know my known lands. There's 5 different regions that I know. Only they have no map in the book, as far as I'm aware. That actually defines what a region is to them. So, there are several different Lord of the Rings maps with different region markings on, and it's up to. I guess we would have to work together for what would make sense and what you count as a region, because some of them can be quite large and some of them.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that came to mind was Eriador is a region, but that's also hundreds of miles. So I feel like that's.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Some maps go into greater detail and split those regions up into smaller bits, or they are just ginormous, and I couldn't have possibly it makes no sense for me to have traveled the length and breadth of Eriador or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, even if you were an elf, maybe it would be possible, if you had lived for a few but it's so much. I guess maybe use a little
we'd have to talk about it in some detail, but
but
yeah, basically around the Riddermark and Gondor probably, and I was thinking I don't know if there's even anything there, but there's the Brownlands and Enid and sort of around the north. I don't know, because I was wondering if he rode for some years with his dad, and they were fighting the dark. It might have been around fighting the shadow or whatever. Around that kind of area, because that's where Rohan borders the evil.
Yeah, I guess you could go up as well. Right? You could go up to Dunland and stuff, which is notoriously not nice. Sure. But I guess it's not shadowy.
I mean, I could have traveled north into Rovanion at some point. But it's up to you, and we'll probably go into. We can do that
Yeah.
off stream or something. They're fiddly details.
You did say 27 point buy, right?
Yeah, that's the standard point buy.
Is that including? No, because it's that's level 4, isn't it? The attribute improvement.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
There's a point buy calculator that I can link in the chat that I use for the D&D stuff, but obviously their stats don't often line up with the ones that are in Lord of the Rings because that's not how it works. But it was enough for me to get an accurate count, so I can send that.
Yeah, I just like to, I don't know, I always, when I play D&D, use a point buy, so I don't know if that's different.
The calculator
makes
I
it
end up using has all the D&D races in, but
All right, cool.
they have different
Oh,
stat
okay.
attributes in the Lord of the Rings books, so you can't always like the Wood Elves and the Elf characters have the same stats, so you can use the Elf thing on that point buy calculator. But got me.
Oh, that's why I'm getting it wrong because they start at 8. I'm just like, how am I supposed to? Okay, cool. That's fine then.
Yeah, start at 8, and they can't be higher than 15 before racials.
Yep.
So does anyone else have a concept or something like that?
I've got a very brief one, which is some kind of male scholar, probably human from Gondor. I'm tempted though to put something a bit strange in his background, like maybe he had to research something quite heavily and discovered something very secretive that not many people know about.
There's actually a background class for that.
All right.
So in the book, you can do exactly that and be on the hunt
deadly.
for something secretive.
Yep, that's perfect. I mean, you might have, in the deep libraries of Earth, uncovered something while smoking your pipe.
It's called Seeker of the Lost. Is the
That's the
background you're
background.
probably looking for? Oh, you should have a look into.
Yeah.
I really like the backgrounds in this book. Actually, they're really thematic.
Yep.
And like very general, so they can fit into almost any kind of character you have, but regardless of where you come from. They've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, it's great. Great product.
And my sort of, I have a couple of characters in mind. One would be a Gondor, captain of Gondor. It's actually the direct descendant of the Lord of Athelion, before it became Minas Morgul.
Oh, nice.
And he's on an oath sworn. I can't remember the background, but oath sworn to recover his ancestral lands or die trying.
And those lands are where the Witch King lives. That's good.
Yes. But I don't know whether I'll.
Well, it'd be good to have somebody from Gondor, somebody high up in the Gondor, ranks would be good. Somebody who like is a clear.
I also thought of being the sort of weapons instructor to young Boromir and Faramir.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be good to have somebody who's in the Gondor hierarchy, who's like, who Denethor would be like, okay, you don't mess it up.
Yep. Or the other idea I had was someone in a similar position, but I can't remember the other background, but a dwarf with as a cultural attaché to Gondor.
Oh yeah.
But basically a similar role, training the young knights with weapons and things.
Perfect. So we would have a scholar, which is great. We'd have a Wanderer, and then potentially Warden. It would be great to have all of them. There's Slayer and Warden as well, right? Warrior
And Treasure Hunter.
Treasure Hunter, yeah.
Nice.
I did think of the one as the Lord of Ithilien. He's a kind of smuggler who tries to recover lost treasures of Gondor from fallen Ithilien and the fallen. And that's another sort of idea I've been thinking of.
I love the idea of like walking through the blasted heaths and you see this orc and he's got this beautiful sword. You're like, that belongs to me.
Yeah.
Come and take it.
I might make him a treasure hunter actually, rather than a warrior. My Gondorian noble.
Mm-hmm.
There is one minor thing, because all the humans start with a racial thing that you can choose, a gift kind of thing. Or a feat. I went for Kingsguard. They have a thing called Sword and Spear, which basically all swords and all spears, while mounted, you do extra 2 damage. But I really wanted an axe, and the axe is actually the same as the longsword in every way apart from slashing. So I just wondered if I could still get
that's fine.
Damage. Cool. Yeah. It's annoying that they've just called it Sword and Spear and done that.
Yeah, I mean, you see lots of riders with long axes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Like, way to harsh the axe.
These are some really nice names.
So we have all humans, possibly a dwarf. No elves, I'm surprised.
I played elf in another game, so I was like,
right.
Yeah.
I think the human condition is the thing that kind of really intrigues me with Lord of the Rings. Like it's the folly of man, isn't it? That's like another running theme. So,
and humans are easily corrupted by the shadow also, you know.
Exactly, yes.
Elves seem to have a decent time ignoring it.
So, guys, you should recommend me something, because I've only really flicked through this book, I'm going to be honest. So if I want to be a Dunedain that was, I guess I want him to be pretty able in combat, because he was sort of behind enemy lines, as it were, for a while. Like, what do you think I should go for, in your opinions? Because I won't be reading the whole thing while I'm on the stream.
Sure. I mean, the Treasure Hunter's a bit roguelike. The Slayer is a barbarian, effectively, quite strong. The Warrior is your out-and-out fighter that are very good, and the Warrior archetypes are quite interesting. You can either go Knight or like Weapon Master, and the Knight has like all these vows that he makes. The Warden is kind of like a fighter, but also kind of inspirational and like buffs the team around him. So it depends if you want him to be this force for good or if you want him to be like a killer.
I think he's going to be more of a killer. I think the passionate speeches before they charge have long died within him.
Fair enough. I mean, Warrior is pretty good to look into.
Well, I was thinking, I don't want to be too stereotypical, but like I like the idea of him being the anti-Strider, you know, like the complete opposite. So rangery kind of.
Like maybe he has the skills but doesn't have the hope, you know?
Yeah.
The sort of quality that makes people follow him.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the fighters can use ranged weapons. They're probably more applicable to it than the Slayers. I think they're just all combat.
I'll tell you what, I'll have a quick flick and then we can come back to me.
Yeah.
I would definitely check the Warrior out. I know it might be a bit cut and dry, but they've got some interesting things if you look at the Knights and if you look for the marks of honor, it might bring up something.
Come on, yeah, I'll have a chat now.
How about you, Dennis? Any ideas?
So what do we have so far for sure? We have a scholar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have a
Wanderer.
scholar. I think Caius is not entirely sure, but it sounds warrior-esque to me.
Well,
You were going treasure hunter, right?
I'm actually moving towards treasure hunter. I've played
Yeah.
lots of warriors, and I think it
Right.
might. I don't know. I'm quite comfortable in warriors. Maybe I should stretch myself and go for treasure hunter.
Yeah, my go-to is always just play a large man with a sword.
Yeah. I feel so safe when I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll go for a treasure hunter.
I love that one of the Slayer paths is called Foe Hammer. It's just great.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at. Spellhammer.
That would be my Beyawning.
I kind of wanted to. I didn't really have anything set in mind, but one of the things I was kind of thinking about was doing a dwarf, but I'm not sure if that would fit.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Man, all the names are so evocative. It's like Hammerhand, Splintered Shields, and Splintered Spears, Shattered Shield.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, language is important, and they're good on language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a dwarf Slayer makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
I'd say, maybe that's because I play so much Warhammer, but to me, dwarves have a tendency towards berserkery sort of.
Right, yeah.
Love the Warhammer Slayers, man. They're
Yeah.
awesome. And also, I think it'd be nice for us to have a bit more representation in terms of the race of Middle Earth. I mean, everyone coming together for the common cause.
So the Foehammer lets you wear armor while raging, which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
The armors in this game, they have. I don't know if you've played it, but you don't reach as high ACs generally as normal 5th Ed. They're a little few and far between, and generally lower. We've found.
So look here. Oh yeah. So it looks like heavy mail 16 is as high as you get.
Yeah. So I'm like a level 5 or 6 elf, and I've still got like 14 or 15 armor, and it feels real vulnerable.
Yeah. But you can have a great shield, which is +4 AC.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how the great bow or the great shield, if they work mounted or not. There's nothing necessarily to say they shouldn't, but I don't know. It seems pretty awkward. Because they're just straight up better.
Yeah.
So I had the choice of a short bow or a great bow, and one of them was much better than the other. But it makes sense for you to be short bowing from the back of a horse rather than great bowing. But
because mechanically, there's no reason why you wouldn't use the better one.
Yeah. It's the same. It's with the elves as well. They actually have some mechanical benefits to favouring the short bow,
right?
As well as some fluff. I really like the warden, the charismatic part bard. The very last ability they have. It's a terrible ability, really, but it's just a light when all other lights go out from the movie. I just love that you are the beaming beacon of hope. Nor weariness, nor endless barren miles is another one.
Great.
Did someone say that someone is going as a wanderer?
That was me.
Ah, okay.
I mean, you could be one too.
I know, but It's a shame because I was just looking. I was like, that's kind of the thing I imagined. But which
I was doing the shadow
archetype?
thing. The shadow
Yes.
you would be doing as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same one. Oh, that's a pain. I'll read through it some more and then see. I think because
I mean, there is a mounted rider Slayer path, but if we have, which is fairly different to the faux hammer one. For the Dennis, was it who was going barbarian? Effectively.
Scholar. Okay.
So it seems like the Hunter of Beasts is actually pretty different to the Hunter of Shadows, like in terms of what they get. It seems more rangery, while this one, the Shadows, seems almost vengeance paladin-y, you know? So I think you could probably play the Hunter of Beasts and Hunter of Shadows and be very different.
yeah, absolutely. The thing, I mean, I only went really with imagery of what I wanted this character to be like, and I just imagined him in Angmar on his own, just killing as many evil things that he could, you know, that
Right.
and unfortunately that's the one that speaks to that. So I don't know. I mean, obviously we'll role play differently. So I mean it will seem, and you're from Rohan. My guy would be Dunedain, so that would be very different. But I don't want you to think I'd be stepping on your toes if I were to pick that also.
Not at all, dude. I don't mind. Maybe they'll come together because they've never been with someone else who's been so badly tainted by the awfulness that brings, and then maybe they'll find some companionship.
All right, man. Yeah. Okay, that sounds cool to me.
I mean, even if it's a minor case of just like using a different weapon, like one of you has an axe and one has a sword, that already, when you're describing it, sounds really different. I don't know. I don't think it'll be.
I mean, you wanted me a bowman, and I'm going to be riding around on a horse. Hopefully, if it doesn't get killed from underneath me. But
well, it depends. Like sword and bow, I'd say. But like, like. We'll see. Yeah, obviously you'll be mounted as well. I don't want to be mounted, like, so that's a definite.
Yeah, but I mean, even the difference between someone from Rohan and someone from up in Arnor is a huge cultural difference.
Yes, huge. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I don't feel quite so bad about it now.
I mean, you can all play the same thing. Like, I don't have any fear that anyone would be like, "Oh, you're all just going to talk the same way." I don't fear that.
You have no idea how long I've waited for the excuse to speak like I'm in Lord of the Rings. It's like, there's a very particular way of speaking. Yeah, exactly. Very, very different. It's just, it's great. It's a great structure of dialogue.
Very theatrical.
Yeah, very.
I haven't had a chance to read upon the things like corruption, the shadow, miserable, that kind of thing.
Oh, it's awful.
It's quite. Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's quite something.
It's bad news. Yeah. I haven't read fully through it either, but if it's like The One Ring, which I imagine it's similar to, when particularly bad things happen, you start to gain shadow points, whether it's like being exposed to something terrible or like seeing something terrible, like anguish, or just when you do something terrible or something evil, you start to get shadow points, and you each have like a weakness that you then kind of play up. So I think it's the classes that get the weaknesses.
Yeah.
And like some of them, it's like dragon sickness, or it's lure of power, or whatever it might be. And then you start to play those things up, and I think there's mechanical consequences as well. But
there is.
Yeah.
You get miserable, and then you basically go mad. If you get. Basically, it works off wisdom, and if I think you get near or then above your total wisdom in in shadow points, it starts getting real bad. So I wouldn't dump wisdom. It would be,
No, I really haven't. No. No,
There's
intelligence and wisdom I put as my highest, and then it turns out those are my proficiencies in saving throws. Like, oh,
Perfect.
I swear to God, like as soon as you were as you were saying, just don't make wisdom a dump stat. That was the one that I was right. So thank you very much for that. There, that was a divine intervention.
That's my one tip to not going straight into the mechanic. Just make sure you have a little bit more wisdom than you usually do, because it saves your ass.
I will say that skills will play a huge part, probably larger than normal in this game, because there'll be much more wandering and less, not much less, but less fighting. So your skills will be, for once as important as your ability to hit something with a sword. So really focus on some of those. I would definitely try and pick like one or two skills that you're really good at.
Scholar is excellent, by the way. I love playing the Scholar. It's really interesting split between, it's a wisdom and intelligence class at the same time, and I went for the healer, but the other one, they've got the archetypes play very differently regardless of what class you are. But it's good. I did, with picking the skills, I had a couple of duplicates from the background. Being a wanderer gives me survival, and then my background that I chose gave me survival as well. So I just chose another one from the wanderer list.
That's fine.
Cool.
That's what I do when I have something from background and class or whatever. I'll just mess it around.
Okay. Oh, well, they're all going to be super duper skills. Okay.
Gonna have to watch them now, haven't I? Set aside 14 hours to watch them all.
Oh, Shadow Weakness, Lure of Secrets. Yeah, makes sense.
Great. That's excellent. Oh, we cannot throw this away. It is a gift.
Oh, that piece of rock, it's got this shiny thing on it. I need to look at it some more.
I swear to God, Lloyd, if you say anything about any particular item whatsoever, I'm just gonna go, if you but lend me that bracelet.
Yeah.
If you but lend me your kettle,
Lend me your kettle.
Whatever, it's just whatever's helpful at the time.
By the blood of our people are your lands kept safe.
You gotta go people. The blood of our people.
And Sean Bean narrates the new Civilization game, and it's just my ultimate dream come true. It's great.
Yeah, I heard he's in it, man. That's so cool.
They have some very interesting choices for quotes, I have to say.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Some strange ones, but Sean does his best, bless him.
Yeah, to bring some gravitas to some of the comedy quotes.
Yeah. They've got Terry Pratchett in there and all sorts. I still remember Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, that was great.
All those classical quotes, they're the ones that always ring in my head.
Mm-hmm.
People modded those into the Civilizations 5. They like them that much.
Men have gone. Oh, where is the thing? Oh, never mind. I forgot to pick up the virtue thing.
Yeah, so any mannish characters begin with a racial virtue, which are really good.
Men There we go.
Oh, it's cold out there.
So I think a safe bet. I'm a bit behind, but so I think a safe bet for a wanderer would be strength and constitution. Then, as constitution's the favoured.
Oh, I see. That's why I couldn't find them. They're in
For the wanderer.
Yeah, I think it's a constitution is its main one, didn't it?
2 saving throws is strength and constitution.
Yeah.
I mean, con is good for anyone, but not necessarily always your focus. I mean, you can choose.
You have a lot of wisdom-based skills that you can choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wisdom is
animal
definitely
handling,
not.
animal handling, insight, perception.
And then it depends entirely on what weapon set you want to use, whether you go strength or dex. If you want to be the bowman and maybe choose one of the lighter swords, you could go full on dex and not have a lot of strength.
See, I think I might go dex based. If we're going to have a powerful warrior, then I might be the sneakier kind.
Sweet. Because you do get a couple
Yeah.
of dex skills to choose from as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, definitely. Okay, the dex.
That is well cool. I'm totally going for piercing sight as my virtue.
Piercing sight.
Some of the
So-
virtues are just awesome.
Essentially, I can read people by just looking at them evilly.
Ooh.
If they like if they fail a wisdom save. Wow. Okay. Piercing sight.
I love that every virtue has a little quote included as well, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, they've done a great job just bringing the flavor across. It's everywhere in this book.
Hmm. What they should do, which would be such an easy way to make money, is make a really nice set of your usual D&D dice, the 7 dice. Make a nice design, but then just like they did with the One Ring, the D12 die, they should have like an Eye of Sauron on the 1 and then the Gandalf rune on the 20. That'd be so pretty.
Lloyd,
Uh-huh.
the next piece I have figured out for background, I think I want Doom to die.
Oh yeah. That's a classic Dennis choice.
Yeah, actually. Now that you point that out, that is true. That kind of resonates with me. But I thought it would fit the character well, which would explain why a dwarf's kind of off on his own.
Yeah.
Doing these things because he knows that, his end's coming, so he wants to, get something done while he can, basically. The other one that I was considering was the Harrowed, but I kind of just like the Doom to Die a little better.
Yeah, I like it. Dark foreboding.
Yeah, I figured that could be useful as well.
Yeah.
Where we're going.
I love it. That's like such a vague feature as well, It's great.
Yeah, well, yeah, we kind of leave a lot up to you to decide how
Yeah.
it interacts, but
But I prefer kind of vague features to
it
mechanical
gives you
ones. That's
more.
great.
Yeah, it gives you more room to
Yeah.
do what you want.
Sweet. Except I already have those. That's a bit annoying. Okay, cool. So, are you happy with us choosing from the tables in the background, or do we have to roll them instead?
Oh, choose. Definitely choose.
Cool. Mm. Yeah, okay. So distinctive quality is going to be clever.
Yeah, I like how for the dwarves, for the male names, they've got like 40 or so, and then for the females, they got like 4.
Yeah, who can tell the difference? Yeah, that's crazy.
I guess there's not a call
Yeah.
for female dwarves, maybe.
Well,
No.
there's rumor that there are no dwarf women, and they just jump out of holes in the ground.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
You can always jump on a Scandinavian or Old Norse name
Yeah.
generator type thing if you
Yeah.
need some more.
Ba, ba, ba. Speciality. Ooh. Old lore or dark secrets. Maybe the dark secret thing could be part of his background.
What a choice.
Yeah.
Reading into those backgrounds, if you haven't already, Lloyd, the distinctive quality, speciality, hope, despair thing, it mostly encourages the players to play those, like for
Right.
inspiration, more so than like in 5th edition, where the backgrounds are just kind of some skills and some equipment, and
Yeah.
you get that one trait kind of thing. These are more like role-playing choices,
Yeah.
which is cool.
It's very cute.
Some gorgeous art in this book as well, isn't there? Man.
That's something Lord of the Rings books definitely do very well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's difficult to think at the minute, like whether he's actually been touched by the shadow yet, or if he's just kind of delved really deep into the past and he's found something that the superiors don't really like him knowing about, maybe, or
Yeah, maybe that's why he's sending you.
yes. So maybe he hasn't been touched by the shadow yet. I can see Denethor knowing a bit, though, like a bit more, and being like, "Oh, you found that," and it's like, "Well,
Delve too
why is it
deeply
so
and too
important?"
greedily.
Yeah, go over to Mordor and find out why. Okay, yeah, I'll do Old Lore then. It's all about the old stuff.
I think your guy's like, I haven't been corrupted yet, and then like you look over to mine and Rob's character and just like, you will.
Just a matter of time.
Only a matter of time.
I'm seeing you two as like these edgy, like
You're
rangers
such
with
edgelords. Oh my god.
emo haircuts.
I am going to sit in the shadows, in the dark, in the corner. So
Life is pain.
I'm going to live as a trope. I'm going to wear it like armor.
Every dark, shadowy corner in a tavern, that's where we'll be.
Absolutely. And as soon as if you go in the shadowy corner first, I'll be like, excuse me, what are you doing? And that's
Your
how
own
we'll
shadowy
meet.
corner.
That's how we'll meet. And I'll be like, I think I need, and then you'll be like, no, there's another corner over there, and I'll be like, that's fair, and I'll go into the other corner.
Every tavern, there are 4 corners, and we'll each be in one of them, staring at each other, but behind our sort of from the shadows.
I'm going to brood harder than you.
Which is the brooding skill, just to make sure everyone's in it.
What is his herb?
I guess we also should focus on food. It's a big thing in Lord of the Rings, food and drink, and like the joy of having nice food. It's a major focus. A lot of effort goes into describing the nice food and the nice drink, and
Definitely.
They've
and also the lack of it when they're out there. They're always thinking about it, so it's always present.
I think as part of the journey mechanic, actually, depending on what you roll on the table, it actually mentions that you had a particularly hearty meal or managed to find some meat or berries or something that were
That's
good,
lovely.
and it buoys your charisma or whatever. Because they've got a really interesting mechanic here for journeying, for traveling. Everyone takes like a roll and they roll dice, and depending on how well you do, depends on how easy the journey is for you, or how many things you come against.
Yeah, definitely that one. I'm certain that when I find what I'm looking for, that it will be something that was better left alone.
Yep,
Definitely that.
That's our told you so moment.
I promise you
Right.
that.
Okay, that's all of that. So now it's really just the equipment and stuff.
Oh my god, you're going so fast.
I am.
I just want to say that the font in the fillable character sheet is like perfect for it. It's like the perfect Lord of the Rings font.
Again, thanks to Todor and or Rob.
Seriously, man, kudos to that guy.
Yep.
I helped a little bit because I filled out the sheets and found where the font didn't actually stick, and then he corrected it. But
Okay, equipment.
Oh yeah, that is a good font. I just downloaded it there to have a look.
Lloyd, are you okay with me just like making notes on my character and then like me finishing it up like another time? Because
Certainly.
like, no, it's a nightmare jumping back to this PDF from the other stuff with my laptop for some reason. So it's holding me back a bit.
Yeah, no worries. Absolutely grand. Take your time.
Cool, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to go for Driven from Home. I'll stick with
Yes.
my idea of Beragond of Ithilien, but I Driven from Home. My home is still Ithilien, and I'm not the master of the wilderness, but I can get there, and when I get there, I know my way through the shadows.
Yeah, that's perfect. Gives you something to work towards as well. A real
Yep.
reason to want to go.
Maybe there are some set treasures that I want to find out
Yeah.
where they've got to. I want to fall into this enemy, but there may be a specific one I haven't sort of thought it up yet that I'd like to get my hands on.
Yeah, anything
Family
like that.
heirlooms or something.
Anything like that you want to include, like if you have relatives or if your father was slain in a certain place and you want to recover his arms or whatever it might be, just like throw that in and I'll work it in. I'm keen for that.
Ithilien fell a long time ago, didn't it?
Yeah, I think Minas Ithil, I guess, fell.
Minus Ithil, yes. That's it, minus.
And Ithilien's kind of been a battleground for a long time, longer than Osgiliath has.
Not even a battleground anymore. We've lost that battle. But,
Yeah.
But I think I'm one of the few who's been there and snuck things out, and that's my sort of. And I keep to stealth because there's no way you can oppose the evil there. But I've managed to go in and out unnoticed a few times, and that's another skill that's necessary behind enemy lines.
Certainly. I guess the other thing I wanted to ask is how often do you want to play? I mean, I can do weekly, but I think that's probably a bit much. So I thought either every 2 weeks or every once a month are both fine with me. But I'm open to, as long as it's Monday this time, I can do whenever.
I can technically do whenever as well, since Monday's my day off. I might be a bit tired on some of them, but that's really no problem.
I'm more than happy to commit to whatever, mate. Like this time, yeah, there's no problem for me. So
yes, if it's this time, there's no problem for me.
Okay. All right, well, let's do every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, I think weekly can get a bit much, and I think it also means that you're tied to being in a certain place every Monday, and I don't want to do that, and I'm sure you don't either. Occasionally, I want to go and be a real human on Monday evenings.
It's honesty. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I gave up being a real human ages ago.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so that's that. Is there anything else? Oh, past perception is that plus your proficiency bonus as well?
Yeah, it's 10 plus your perception score. So if you're proficient in it, it'll be added in.
Sweet. Answer is yes. Okay. Yeah, I think I might be done. It's just the corruption save score and shadow, how that works. That's all I need to do, but I don't really know how to do that.
Neither do I. Let's find out.
Yes.
Ah, despair.
So the shadow stuff, it builds up rather than being there in the beginning. So that's why it's
Okay.
empty to begin with. And no one starts with shadow lore, but some people gain shadow lore, and it's obviously it's information about the shadow.
Right.
The corruption saving throws, no, I don't think anyone starts proficient in those. Some people may
No.
become that.
I'll just
You'll find the rules in a second, I'm sure. I think it's like a
yeah.
wisdom save or something.
Shadow weakness descriptions, come into the shadows. It'll be in there somewhere, probably. Sources of
I can't. I'm just looking at the despairs, and since I've snuck into Minus Ithil one time, the one I've got to go for is I can't escape what destroyed my home.
Perfect. Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, maybe you caught a glimpse of a ring wraith or something, or even a shadowy figure, a ghost. And in typical Lord of the Rings fashion, everyone's like, "Nah, that's nonsense. That ain't real. We killed Sauron like 2,000 years ago. Don't worry about it."
There was no orc chief I saw.
Okay, so all right, so it talks about how shadow points are acquired and how wisdom saving throws work, but it's just the corruption thing.
So when you fail shadow, depending on what the DM gives you, like it might be one or two or a couple, depending on what you found or what attacked you, then the shadow points stack up, and I think as you get to like your wisdom score, you start to get mechanical detriments, like miserable, and then eventually you go mad. I think completely. So there are some ways to heal it, but not many.
I see.
So that's why I suggested don't dump wisdom, otherwise you become entirely vulnerable.
Denethor's dad was Ecthelion, right?
Yes.
I think Ecthelion the second.
It was Ecthelion.
I think it was Ecthelion the second. I think rather than the Ecthelion they all shout the name of when they charge.
I know it's Ecthelion.
I just think it's a really cool name, but probably inappropriate to be named after Denethor's dad.
Yeah, Denethor the second, son of Ecthelion the second.
Yeah. When I was little, I thought it was
memory.
Excelion, and then I thought that linked somehow to Excelsior. I'm just like, what? Why is that? Oh, what? And I was like, oh, Ecthelion. Okay.
For hit points, so we're doing max for first level, and then the average.
The average, yeah.
Plus con.
Well, if you want to roll it, you can roll it, but I would always. You're actually just way better off taking average.
I would agree. I've seen many people burnt by that before, so I just kept with the
cool.
average
I'm
for a
all
long
done.
time.
Excellent.
And
It's just the background, really.
if you roll, people don't believe you if you get better than average.
Yeah.
So either way you learn. Yeah.
Siren level 3.
Right, so Ecthelion was an elf, apparently, the first Ecthelion. Man, there's a lot, right? So I'll also just drop this in right now. I will not be keeping up to date and specific on all of the lore. I'll make it up as I please.
No,
I'll try
Lloyd,
my best, but
you're supposed to have the Silmarillion open in front of you.
Right.
That's what we all. And you will introduce a new character every other sentence.
It will feel like Lord of the Rings heavily, but I will tell you right now that I will have no idea about lineage and stuff like that. It's just it's way. You don't have to know who everyone's granddad is. It's not necessary.
So when we're done mechanically then, Lloyd, is there anything that we're also going to be doing?
No, I don't think so. I just wanted to get together and get you guys to meet each other and talk a little bit, but I think we've done all that.
So the basic concept is we are called together by Gondor to venture somewhere.
Yes, Denethor has called you specifically, all of you specifically, to come to Minas Tirith, speak with him for some reason. And that reason is he wants you to go and investigate what the fuck is happening across the river. Because something's happening and people aren't coming back from patrols and so on. And he wants some heroes to go and look.
Very well.
And just to check, Lloyd, we're starting level 3, yeah?
Yeah, level 3.
Level 3. That's helpful.
Like I like level 1 starts, but it's kind of sometimes it just feels like, okay, we're just doing this to get it out of the way. You know, what can you actually do?
What you mean? Yeah. And I think with Lord of the Rings, like it'll be nice if we're a bit capable. Like we're not stepping out of the Shire.
Right.
We're going straight to where the orcs are.
I mean, you will have came
for a reason.
as a Dunedain. You would have come from miles away.
Yeah.
Picked up something on the way, I'm sure.
You'd hope, anyway.
But yeah, if you guys are done or want to do your character some of the time, that's fine. Just wanted to get together and have a quick chat about it, and I think we have achieved that. I guess our first session will be the 28th, which will be 2 weeks from now. And that's it, I think.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
If you guys have any questions, just send me a message or put it up in the group and we can discuss. And if you don't mind, once you have your character done, put the character sheet in there and also a picture would be great because I'll make overlays
nice
for everyone. If you are,
that's cool, man. Yeah.
Cheers.
Definitely.
Yeah. I still haven't mastered that.
Yeah.
I just like when when one person does them, they kind of all match.
Right. Yeah. It has a nice kind of look.
Yep.
Yeah, I can make a passable one, but I'm well up for you.
Yeah, if you just send some character art, either to me or put it up in the group. Actually, better to put it in the group so everyone can see. And yeah, character sheets when you got them. No rush though, as long as they're to me by the 27th, like the day before, that's fine.
I'm just dragging the entire character folder in there now. So I have both mounted and unmounted art.
Excellent.
Because the character I chose, there's not that much Rohirrim art out there.
Yeah, I found it really difficult. I tried to make a Knight of Dol Amroth, and that was very difficult to find some art.
But I found a guy. I think it's from a game, and it's probably a famous character that I don't quite recognize. But
So you're going to be switching your overlay every time you get on and off the horse, right?
yes, totally. Make me too.
Just, this is a point that has to be done now.
I like that as a challenge.
Then
Go
Lloyd,
on, you're technical boy.
you might just kill my horse just for the hell of it.
Well, actually, I was going to say, Lloyd, in terms of equipment, things like that, like, are we going to be on horseback? Because that's something I need
Yes,
to...
you'll all have a horse. I guess you can choose between a draft horse and a riding horse. It's your choice.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, those of you who are like looking to be mounted, there will be opportunities to get a better horse, like a war horse, something similar, down the road.
Am I able just to? Because I start with a horse. Can I have this horse, and then when it gets better, like maybe it can grow, like I grow, become a war horse? Cool.
Yeah.
If it doesn't die horribly.
The saddest scene I've ever seen, I think, was in Nick's Lord of the Rings game where my horse died, and it was just, oh my god, it was brutal. Jesus, the horse is like injured and stuff, and then orcs were coming, and we had to run, and I couldn't like drag the horse with me, and I like, oh my god, gave it like my last apple, and we were like starving to death, and I was like, here you go, buddy. It was it was killer.
Yeah, Nick will do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good at bringing that torture out.
Yep.
I find it really difficult when it comes to animals, man. Like when I'm running a game, I generally sidestep around that one. I'm like, the animals are fine, run away.
It's funny because like in movies, I can see people shot up and cut up and all kinds of stuff, but I see like an animal even get abused, and it's like,
no, too much.
Right,
I completely agree.
Even in the Ride of the Rohirrim, like all the Rohan dudes are dying in droves, but then once a horse gets taken down, you're like, oh, come on.
It's like, that's just uncalled for. Come on now.
In the other game I play, playing this elf, the Todor actually runs that one, and he was just like, have a horse, because it makes sense. So I've actually been bonding a lot with this elven steed, and it's been the only horse we've had for quite a long time. So we put the Hobbit up there, and we put like injured people up there, and he's actually saved us quite a lot, and it was just something he gave me for free, and he's called Talagor, which is awesome.
Nice.
It means Elvis for like swift foot or something like that.
I just think it's particularly with how much Tolkien focused on horse culture. Like Rohan is all about it, and even like speaking to your horse and Aragorn and everything. It's like it's a big thing in Lord of the Rings to me.
Yeah, he really, really liked his horses.
Yeah,
and they're quite important to the Saxon culture and the like.
Yeah,
and the elven steeds are almost as smart as people, kind of.
Yeah,
you can talk to Shadowfax and others.
I do like the idea of the horse being like a mythical beast, like in D&D. Like they kind of are like a bit better than your average horse in this world. It's pretty cool.
Well, they have the elvish horse's blood running through them sometimes, and I mean, a lot of that comes from Anglo-Saxon horse worship.
Big time, like Frisians and stuff.
And some Nordic stuff as well, obviously, with Sleipnir.
Yeah.
I'll write up a background document at some point and run it past you. I'm thinking that because it's kind of difficult with Rohan because they don't have that many sort of stable settlements, but probably some sort of my family, because they only go for like single names and then they get given the something or of something when you've proven yourself.
Right.
So it was, I think somewhere in East Emmet or something, Emnet would be where my family's from, and they just been disassembled horribly. Yeah,
feel free to make that stuff up as well. If there's no settlements there, just make one up and whatever. We'll figure it out.
They have like some temporary ones, and they tend to migrate a bit and stuff like that. I don't always go for the grimdark, everyone's been murdered death thing. It just did with this character. I've actually done for a long time now in D&D. I've done like quite a 180 in that regards, where I actually purposely write big backgrounds with lots of happy family members, which are completely fine and not at all going to like plot points.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually much better for the DM if you have a family and you have ties, rather than like, I'm a lone wolf. Everyone I care about is dead, because then it's like there's nothing to draw you into anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to be completely lone wolf. Like,
yeah,
his mother will still be alive and things. It's just his dad and his house has fallen, like a sister or something. They'll be around.
Definitely. Lord of the Rings is very much like people go out and do what they do all because of their culture and their family.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally why they do anything.
I think there's a big tendency as well towards like redemption stories. Like even when you first see Rohan, it's a shithole and it's got the sad violin music, and at the end it's like this bombastic music. And a lot of redemption. Broken houses becoming healed.
The good stuff.
Scholar.
Yeah, Lloyd, I am expecting like you to like fully orchestrate this. Like when an orc shows up, I want dun 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 dun.
Oh, good call.
That'd be excellent.
Yeah, actually, that was a major part of that Lord of the Rings game I played as well. Was just like whenever Nick started talking, everybody quickly YouTubing to like find the appropriate music.
Anytime I've ever run a Star Wars game, I've had John Williams in the background. It's just a must. So, same thing with Howard Shore and Lord of the Rings, I'm sure.
Yeah. Because whenever we were losing a battle, it was always this. It's very effective. It's actually some of the best music score out there, I think.
Definitely. Apparently, the Lord of the Rings soundtrack was mostly recorded in a town hall to get a slightly different acoustic.
Yeah, it's one of the few films where like you notice the score, because so many modern films they just have like bwomp, bwomp, and like, but in this one it's like the scenes are so dependent on the music to be effective. It's amazing.
It's a rare breed now, mate. I mean, if you think like it's the fact that it's a certain type of storytelling that needs leitmotifs, like it's the same with Star Wars, where you got Vader coming on to March of the Empire. Like it's the same with Lord of the Rings. Like everyone has their own theme, and it's like you were saying, Rohan has its own theme, doesn't it?
Yeah. And Rohan's theme, which is so great, like goes from this like barely audible, weak, shrill violin to at the end this incredibly bombastic piece of music. So man. Good.
I remember watching it, probably a DVD extra or something, but I think it's up on YouTube. There's a fairly big thing about, I think it's one of the composers talking about the whole leitmotif thing throughout all of, it's someone's broken it down or something.
Yeah.
It just really well explains it, that everything has its own identity.
Well, that's the secret. I mean, if you look at Jaws, like the music doesn't play if the shark's not there.
Yeah.
So
yes, exactly.
It's just really clever. Just little subtle things to give audience clues, that kind of thing.
Unfortunately, it's quite rare now in films that
it's a lot of work, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of planning, and they might as well just put some big, bassy, dramatic thing on every single fight, say it sounds the same.
It takes a certain type of storytelling, I think, for it to apply. Like,
yeah, I think so as well. It works best in epics.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'm very excited for this game. It's gonna be good. I have a good feeling about it.
Me too, man. I'm really, really psyched. I'm really gonna get into this. I can't wait to talk like a Middle Earth man. Like, I'm so happy. I've never played a Lord of the Rings role playing game either, so never played One Ring. I didn't, hit any of that. So
it is a good system. It just takes more time to learn the rules, I guess.
Yeah, I found Yeah, I liked it. I thought the combat was meh, you know.
Yeah, okay, I do
Um,
agree. The combat is meh.
But I mean, it's not necessarily the most important part of Lord of the Rings, so I can understand why it is meh, you know. But yeah, hopefully this is like the best of both worlds. I mean, D&D's combat is problematic anyway, but it should be fun. We all know it, you know, and we know how to make it dramatic.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I gotta turn off this Gandalf music. I'm getting too sad.
I put it on for a bit and then stopped it because of that. Gandalf!
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 Like, I swear to God,
For
like,
pity's sake.
I mean, the opening of Fellowship is amazing because you get that whole prologue, but the start of Two Towers, like, I remember sitting there in the audience in the
Foundations of
cinema,
Stone.
and he
Oh my
drops,
God.
and then the camera just follows him, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what? What? Oh, man.
That was so awesome. I love that scene.
Just like opens on the mountains and you can hear them shouting underneath.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you hear all the lines,
Yeah.
don't you, for the Casa Doom scene? Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
good Lord. Amazing stuff.
I think the Two Towers actually is the best soundtrack.
It's
Yeah,
got one that you don't hear that often. There's one called Isengard Unleashed.
Oh my God,
And it's
Isengard
a bit-
Unleashed.
Yeah, it's the bit where Aragorn's like on the horse, like he fell off the cliff, and then he's like riding to try and get to Helm's Deep before the army gets there.
It's also the bit when what's his
And
name?
it soars.
The elf guy dies as well on the battlements.
Yeah,
Haldir,
yeah,
Haldir, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
that bit
yeah.
because of the tremolo and the elvish woman singing and blah blah.
Mm. Yeah, that death's a horrible one as well. Like that's a nasty one. Like
You feel it when an elf dies. You're just like, oh,
oh my God.
yeah.
Like it just shows even the elves aren't invincible in a fight.
Nope.
Like 2,000 years of experiences just
By a brute, a savage
Yeah.
brute. Yeah, yeah, definitely. But then again, one of my favorite characters is Lurtz.
yes, he's great.
Just for
Yeah.
the sound of that bow makes the most evil sound
Oh,
in
yeah.
the world. Yeah.
Great.
And
He like walks
laughs.
right up to Boromir and he's like kneeling and he like walks right up to him with the arrow. It's terrible.
Yeah, he's gonna
Oh,
point blank him. This nasty person.
bad guy.
But that was the guy that played Lurtz, he played the Witch King, and he played
Yeah.
the other one. What was he?
Is it
The other
Gothmog?
one in Richard. Gothmog, that's it, yeah. Amazing. I love the flail. The flail
Yes.
of the Witch King. Holy Christ.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the most villainous weapon in the world.
Well, who knows? You
Green.
might be seeing it personally. So
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
In the
Oh,
commentary, they're like talking about that, and they made one, and Peter Jackson says, "No, it's got to be bigger." And
yeah,
they're
that is it. Yeah,
like,
they're like bigger,
okay. bigger than that. Even they're like,
Oh man.
just break your arm and your shield in a single go. Awful.
Oh, it's so cool.
When I went to see it in the cinema, I remember when Aragorn kills Lurtz, there was a huge round of applause. It was great.
Yeah, like he just gets there in time. It's great.
And like he stabs him through, and then he like pulls himself into the sword, and Aragorn like slices his head off, and everyone's like, "Wah!" It's great.
Well, that's the horror movie director Peter Jackson coming
Yeah.
through. Like that moment there, like where he's pulling him like closer to like bite him or something. Like, oh my God, so gripping. Guy knows how to make things tense.
He sure does.
I mean, he had like a decade or something to make those films, and
12 years.
all
Yeah.
that planning went into it, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everything is.
It
Excellent.
does show.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah, definitely.
Like some of those Hobbit actors, like were like kids when they started that movie. You know, they were like 17, 18 or whatever.
Yeah,
Elijah Wood was like 19, wasn't he?
Yeah.
and grew up with the films.
Yeah. 12 years they were over there.
Really
They all
not
got
that
tattoos.
way to spend 12 years.
Yeah, gosh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They
Right,
got tattoos
Yeah.
except for Gimli.
Just
What's his
making an
name?
overlay.
Reese something.
Reese. John Reese Davis.
John Rhys Davids.
Yeah.
John Rhys Davies.
He didn't
Oh,
get the
legend.
tattoo, but everybody else did.
Did he not get the tattoo?
No, he didn't.
He had a really bad time because he was allergic to a lot of the prosthetics and the makeup.
Yeah.
So he hated a lot of the time he spent, which is a shame.
Mm.
But everyone else had a good time. He still put in a fantastic performance.
He did,
considering
absolutely. Yeah.
Great stuff.
He's brilliant.
And he's on his knees half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's the biggest one in the cast.
He's huge.
Like, it's,
Seemingly, Viggo Mortensen wanted to do most of his own stunts, and he got really pally with the stunt people, and they would like headbutt before they did a fight scene. And one of the days he like got Orlando Bloom and he headbutted him to like get ready, but apparently left a huge red mark, so they put loads of makeup on him to like cover that up for when he headbutted him.
I love that. Like, it's in the extras as well, isn't it? Where like they're doing the battle of Amon-Hem, and like they're working out the choreography, and so like Legolas is going to be doing this, Aragorn's going to deflect that shot here. Oh, and John, you're going to be, and he's like, no, listen to me. You there. You come towards me, and then I'm going to hit you. Then you come towards me, then I'm going to hit you. It's like, that's literally the extent of it, which I absolutely adore. So simple.
There's a scene where Aragorn kicks a helmet when he can't find the hobbits. They think the hobbits have been destroyed, and he like lets it scream, but he broke his toe kicking the helmet, so it's an actual scream of pain. He's like, ah!
Yeah, and they kept it.
Yeah.
And then Sam's like impaled his foot, didn't he, when he went out into the water?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he wades in after Frodo, when he's trying to cross the river, like Sam runs in, but Sean Astin, he impaled his foot like on a piece of glass, like, and they'd swept the bed of the stream to make sure that wouldn't happen, but they still missed something, and so he got a hole through his foot. Bless him.
Yeah, well, all right, guys. I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we said that half an hour ago. For the films, I want to talk about the films.
I could literally spend forever talking about Lord of the Rings. God.
Yeah, man, it's so awesome.
Yeah,
cool, man. Well, that was awesome. I had a good time, and good to meet you guys as well. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll put up the event sometime soon. 28th.
Excellent.
We'll play.
28th it is.
28th.
Yep. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Talk to you soon.
Take it easy, guys.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.